The city skyline glimmered in the distance, and within one of its tallest glass towers, a powerful woman reigned over a billion-dollar empire. Her name was Victoria Steele, a woman who had built her company from the ground up and earned the title of CEO. She was sharp, commanding, and known for her no-nonsense attitude. To her board members, she was a force of nature, someone who could walk into any room and command it. But to those who worked at the bottom rungs of her empire, the cleaners, the clerks, the security guards, she was cold, dismissive, and often cruel. In her eyes, they were invisible. Every morning, the janitors worked tirelessly to polish the marble floors of the lobby, making sure the glass walls shined like mirrors. One of those janitors was a quiet, humble man named Marcus. He was in his late 30s, tall and broad-shouldered, with strong hands and a gentle manner. Marcus didn't talk much, preferring to keep his head down and do his job. He had been through a lot in life and carried himself with quiet dignity. To many, he was just another worker in a gray uniform, but behind those calm eyes lay a past far more interesting than anyone at Steel Enterprises could have imagined. One morning, Marcus was cleaning near the executive garage, where luxury cars lined up like trophies. Victoria, the CEO, stormed in wearing her sleek black suit and signature red heels. She looked furious. Her prized car, a luxury sports coupe worth more than Marcus would make in years, refused to start. She tapped her manicured nails against the hood, frustration written all over her face. Several executives hovered nearby, unsure of what to say, afraid of being the target of her wrath. Useless, Victoria snapped, slamming the door shut after trying the ignition one more time. A car this expensive, and it won't even start. What am I paying people for? Her voice carried through the garage, sharp and commanding. Marcus, pushing his cart of cleaning supplies, paused for a moment, watching quietly. He had always loved engines, a passion he picked up from his father, who was a mechanic. It wasn't just a hobby. Marcus had a gift. He could listen to an engine, hear a knock or a sputter, and instantly know what was wrong. Victoria noticed him standing there and narrowed her eyes. "What are you staring at?" she snapped. Marcus looked down, avoiding eye contact, but replied softly, "Ma'am, I think I know what's wrong with the engine." Her executives glanced at each other, stifling chuckles. Victoria tilted her head, then smirked. "You, a janitor. What could you possibly know about an engine like this? This car costs more than your entire life savings." There was a ripple of laughter among the men in suits, and Marcus simply stood still, letting their mockery roll over him. But Victoria, who always loved to humiliate people she thought beneath her, wasn't finished. She crossed her arms and gave him a condescending smile. "Tell you what," she said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "If you can fix this car, I'll marry you myself." Her tone dripped with sarcasm, and the executives laughed even harder, some nearly choking on their own amusement. It was a cruel joke, one that put Marcus at the center of humiliation. But instead of shrinking away, Marcus calmly set down his mop and pushed his cart aside. "All right," he said quietly, his voice steady, "let me take a look." The laughter died down a little, replaced by curiosity. Victoria raised an eyebrow, surprised at his confidence. "Go ahead, then," she said, waving her hand dismissively. "Show us how the janitor works miracles." Marcus approached the car and popped the hood. The polished chrome and complicated mechanics would have intimidated most people, but Marcus's eyes lit up with recognition. He leaned in, listening, feeling, checking connections with practiced hands. The engine told him its story in seconds. The battery had a poor connection, the alternator belt had slipped slightly, and one of the spark plugs was loose. "May I?" he asked, gesturing to Victoria's driver for tools. Reluctantly, the driver fetched a kit, and Marcus got to work. His hands moved swiftly but carefully, every motion sure, precise, and practiced. The onlookers whispered among themselves, expecting him to fail, but within minutes Marcus wiped his hands on a rag and closed the hood. "Try it now," he said calmly. Victoria, still smirking, slid into the driver's seat. She twisted the key, and the engine roared to life with a smooth, powerful hum. The sound filled the garage, silencing the mocking laughter that had echoed just moments earlier. The executives stared, jaws dropping in disbelief. Marcus had done what they all thought impossible. Victoria's smirk faded, replaced by something she rarely showed: surprise. She stepped out of the car, her heels clicking against the concrete, and looked Marcus up and down. For the first time, she didn't see just a janitor in a gray uniform. She saw someone who carried himself with confidence, who had a skill no amount of money could buy. The silence stretched until one of the executives coughed awkwardly, trying to hide his discomfort. The others muttered excuses and drifted away, leaving Victoria alone with Marcus. She crossed her arms, her expression unreadable. "You really did fix it," she admitted. There was no sarcasm this time, only a reluctant acknowledgement. Marcus simply nodded and picked up his mop again, ready to return to work. He didn't gloat, didn't smile, didn't even remind her of her cruel promise. That quiet dignity made her pause. She was a woman used to people begging for her attention, groveling at her feet. Yet here was a man who had just embarrassed her in front of her own board, and instead of capitalizing on it, he walked away as if it meant nothing. Something stirred inside her, something she couldn't explain. She watched him push his cart down the corridor, disappearing into the service elevator, and for the first time in a long while, Victoria Steele was unsettled. The joke she had made, mocking him, promising marriage as if it were a punishment, suddenly didn't feel so funny. She couldn't get his calm eyes and steady hands out of her head. He had a quiet strength, a kind of confidence that didn't need wealth or power to back it up. And she found herself wondering who Marcus really was.